happening, everybody? Cam Goldstone with the Goldstone Realty Group at Remax Vantage. And I have a pretty special guest on here today. We're just going to chop it up about life, real estate, try to give you some expert tips on some financial freedom when it comes to real estate. So I got someone that's become a pretty good friend of mine over the last 3 years, with a couple of my buddies that most of you know over at C2S Energy, Tony Santos and Cal Cabral. But we have Mike Curadossi here.
Curadossi, close, but almost. Curadossi, yeah.
Curadossi.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you spell that?
Curadossi.
I thought it was CUAR.
Oh, no. That's all right. I've heard everything.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Mike, so I guess talk a little bit about how you started in real estate. It's been, 12 years for you or so?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, which is crazy.
And you started with some flips? You start with just investments?
Yeah, so I started... it was funny because growing up, I'd watch flip that house, flip this house shows. I don't know, Armando Montalago and all these guys who were flipping houses. And I just love seeing the transformation. So I watched all those 2 or 3 times and I just loved it. So then I knew I eventually wanted to get into real estate. So I went to school to UMass Amherst. I took landscape architecture and I started a business right out of college. I graduated in 2009, which was the economy was absolutely terrible. So I applied all over the United States, couldn't get jobs, said, all right, I'm gonna start my own business. I did that, which was fine, but I never wanted to have the biggest landscape design company in Massachusetts. That was never my goal. I just want to pay my bills, have a good life, but then get into real estate. So a few years later, I started reading a ton of books. It's funny, I'd read a book, make a spreadsheet, read another book, fix my spreadsheet, and after 5 or 6 books, I'm I have a pretty good spreadsheet now. And I started going to real estate meetups. And the first real estate meetup I went to, I remember sitting in the parking lot. It was at Bailey Surf and Turf in Wareham.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the back parking lot, and I was so nervous. And I was I'm not going to go in. These people aren't going to respect me. They think I'm an idiot. I have no business being here. And then I was just screw it. And I just got out of the car and I walked in. And literally that day changed my entire life because I walked in there, I was nervous, started talking to people, and I met a guy, Jim, and he ended up kind of becoming my mentor. He was an agent as well. And I talked with him and I just heard him talk and I was I need to latch onto this guy in any possible way I can. So the next day, I remember vividly, I was renting a house right off C Street in Hyannis, and with my fiance or my girlfriend, who's not my wife. And I remember sitting at my desk being nervous to write this email. And I wrote an email and I was hey, Jim, I met you last night. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help you, to learn from you. I don't ever want to get paid. I just want to add as much value to you as I possibly can.
Right.
And him being an agent, he's okay, well, in the back of his head, he's hey, well, if you buy real estate, I make money, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I'll help you, right? So he's what are you doing today at noon? I was dude, you tell me what I'm doing today at noon. I had my own business, so I was pretty flexible. So I went out to Wareham. He was in, I forget the neighborhood in Wareham, but he was doing a 3-bed, 1-bath ranch, 1,200, 1,500 square foot. It's kind of the perfect rental property that I look for now. But and he was showing me things hey, this is how much a window costs. And he was teaching me, and then he drove me by a couple other ones, and he was flipping at the time. And then after that meeting, he's I know you want to buy rentals, but I have a property right down the street that is coming on. It's a bank REO. This was in 2012, maybe. So he's if you want it, it's probably yours. And I was okay, great. So we literally drove there. Right from there, I walked it. I was I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to finance it. I have no money. Right. So 12 years ago, I started. I had a landscape design business. I'm renting a place for $1,200. My wife is in school to be a nurse practitioner. She's working, but putting her money to pay for school. My rent's $1,200. I'm making just enough money to basically pay for us to live. I have no money. I have student loan debt. I have credit card debt. So I started talking to Jim, and he's you can get a hard money loan. And I actually met a hard money lender, this guy Elliot from Signature Lending. I met him at that meetup too, and I was oh, okay, cool. I can just call Elliot, and he's just call Elliot. And I was okay. And then Elliot wanted the down payment, so I had to figure out how to get money for the down payment. I'm getting all these credit cards, and so I went in there, did a lot of the work myself. I brought in some people when I needed to, but I ended up buying that flip. I maxed out every credit card I had. I got new credit cards, maxed all those out. It was the most stressful 6 months of my entire life. My girlfriend and I moved into there because I couldn't afford the payments, the hard money lender, and our rent. So we broke our lease. I remember we told our landlord that my wife, because she was like working in Boston too,
Yeah.
she was commuting a lot. So like, oh, like, you know, we need to move closer to Boston, start working for him. He's like, okay, you can break your lease. He was a nice guy. So we moved into the rental. It sold in like 2 days. And they were like, okay, well, and then we moved in my brother-in-law. But so I ended up making, long story short, I ended up making like 60 grand, which is great for your
On that
first
first
flip, right?
project,
Like
yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Learned a ton. And then I bought 2 rentals with it. I bought one on 6 Mark Drive in Plymouth. It's a condo. And then I bought one on Village Green Drive in Sagamore Beach.
Okay.
So my girlfriend and I moved into the one on Mark Drive in Plymouth, and I rented the other one out. So I had 60 grand. I spent 60 grand on buying these 2 properties, and then I filed taxes. And I just figured like I made 60 and I put 60 back in.
Right.
Like, I don't know money in taxes. So then my accountant's like, oh, you owe 20 grand. I'm like, I don't have $20,000. Like, how am I paying like my taxes? I can't do this. So he's like, oh, well, you flipped the house and you made 60 grand. And, you know, like then the other stuff's appreciating. You write off your closing costs, but like then you'd appreciate that you can't write off the money, your down payment. And I was like, oh. So then I was like, if you're in debt with the government, I hope none of you listening are, but like, with taxes, like you pay interest. So
Right.
like the whole next year, I was like, any extra money I had, I was like slamming to pay that off. So I was like, well, how do I basically flip houses, but keep it, right? And like build tax benefits and
Yep.
own rentals. Cause like I never wanted, like flipping houses is a job, right? And I
Right.
didn't get into real estate to
work
create
more.
a job.
Right.
I created real estate to retire and move to Florida, which I did, right?
Right.
Which we can talk about later, but so I basically figured out, if any, like the BRRRR method, right? Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically taught myself that entire strategy. I had a mortgage broker who I had met, and I literally called him like every day when I was like looking at things. And I learned how to like structure deals
Right.
using like instead of a cash out refinance, you do a rate and term refinance. You can push it from like 70 or 75% LTV to 80% LTV, which we were actually talking about before the show
Right.
started. And just like little things like that I learned over time. So then I started buying these foreclosures, and instead of selling them, I'd refinance, pay the hard money lender back, and keep it, and then just go do more and more
Yep.
and more. And you're always broke. Like
Right.
I didn't have money until like 5 years ago. Like I was literally broke because you get one, you start making like $500 a month or whatever it is. And then you get another one, but then you go over budget. So then you wipe out the other bank account. So like all my real estate money, I just kept rolling. Cause then and
Right.
then you get 2 projects going, 3 projects going,
Yep.
4, 5,
Yep.
and then you're going 10 grand over budget, or your refinance costs sneak up, or the appraisal comes in little light, right?
Yeah, you leave
And all
money in
these
the
things
deal,
started
whatever.
happening.
Yeah.
And then like I remember I had a good relationship with my electrician, but at the end, I feel like on every deal, I'd like call him like, hey dude, like, can I set up a payment plan with you and like pay a little bit every month? Cause like, I don't have the money to pay you right now.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, sure, dude, it's fine, whatever. And then like, I don't know. It always seemed to work out. I never hit like a home run deal.
It seemed like
I just hit a lot of like singles and doubles.
I was going
right?
to say, you
And-
remain consistent.
Yeah.
Right? Over
Yeah.
time. And for those of you that don't know, and I want to stop you there. So you had your first deal, which was a flip. You made some money. You immediately took that money, reinvested it back in, and it seemed like for the next 8 years or so, you continued to do the same thing. Because that's a big misconception. A lot of people think, oh, you have 4 units, 5 units, 6 units. You must be cash flowing all this money. You must have all this money in the bank. And really, it's like you're taking that equity if you're doing it right and reinvesting it into the next deal, right?
Yeah.
So just to capture the people's attention, I guess, can you just explain to people what your current portfolio? So again, it's been 12-ish years since you did your first. What does your current like portfolio look like?
So I have 84 units. I have 6 more that I'm probably putting under contract in the next week or so. It's my portfolio is valued at like 24 million, and cash flow wise, I had about 30 units that I've been stabilizing. They're all stable now. I'm refinancing them all and stuff. So once all that stuff's done, it should be like 55 to 60,000 a month, and like cash flow,
pure-
like
pure.
not like, you know,
Right.
mortgage, you know, taxes and insurance
Yeah.
and mortgage minus, like, no, it's like legit cash flow, like reserves, maintenance,
CapEx, all that
yeah,
stuff,
like all
right?
that
So
stuff.
pure cash flow over 12 years.
Yeah. It
Which
doesn't
is-
happen overnight. Like there's so many people online that lie, right? About everything.
right,
And it's like, oh, I have these rentals. Oh, I'm like, I just bought a yacht and I have a Lamborghini. I've been doing this for like 2 years. I'm like, you're so full of crap.
Right.
Like there's no easy, quick, like buying rental real estate is get rich slow. Like
For sure.
I'm 12 years later talking to you, right? Like if I was 2 years into it, I would have been like, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. It's great. But like, I'm broke, right? Like I have no money,
Right.
but I have assets. Like my net worth, like on paper, I have money, right? And like, that's the thing. Like I had I call it like my net worth calculator.
Yeah.
And I have every single property I own, the date I bought it, every month the mortgage balance changes. I have like appraised values on there that I kind of go through and change year to year and kind of see. I have my actual cash flow numbers in there, my debt service coverage ratio, my lenders, like everything in there. So I can basically pull it up and have like a really good picture of like, where is my net worth at today? Like where, like, should I do a 1031 exchange? Should I do a group refinance of some properties? So I can always like look at my portfolio to see how I can restructure it to grow, which is really important because when you're buying rental real estate and you're constantly broke, if you didn't start with money, right? Like I didn't.
Right.
It's like that spreadsheet like motivated me to continue going. So I was like, oh, like this is working. Like this is amazing. Like it's working. It's just, it takes time, right? Because I always tell people, if you buy a rental property, you shouldn't expect to pull money from it for at least a year.
Right.
Because if you don't have money and you can't fund your operating account, like you should go in there, buy it, do your thing, refinance it. If you're adding value, pull it out, get a tenant in there. If you're making $500 a month, you should want at least 5, 6, 7, 10 grand in your bank account before you start pulling money to like live off of.
Right.
Because if you have a vacancy, if you have a heating system, if you need a new roof, like, right, like if you're going to go through and renovate the building, like hopefully you're doing all that stuff up front and refinancing it, right? And using like hard money, like however you're doing it. But there's going to be maintenance issues. And if you don't have your reserve account built up enough, like, and you have $0 or $1,000 in it, like what happens when something happens? Then you better have your own personal cash to fund it, right? So you just want to, and like for every property I own, like I want 10,000 in my bank account, and like that to me is zero.
Gotcha.
Right? And anything above that, like okay, like live off of, use it, whatever. But anything under 10, like I'm not touching.
Makes
because,
sense.
Like those are my rainy day funds for every single one of my properties. So
Can you tell everybody what you specialized in and why you gravitated towards it? So I know I have 2 partners myself right now, and we've recently purchased 7 units over the last couple of years, and 4 of them this last year specifically been in the Wareham area. And through Mike's knowledge and a lot of his guidance, we decided to go the Section 8 housing rent, right? And Mike can explain a little bit more as to how he got started. But if you noticed at the beginning of the show, he was talking a lot about like Plymouth and Sagamore and these different areas, so more towards down the Cape, if you will, not so much in New Bedford, Fall River. And there's a reason why. And a lot of people, how can I explain this? There's sort of like a black eye on the Section 8 market, if you will, but I think it's just they're uneducated about how it actually works and the protections and layers of protections that are there, right? But if you want to get it, so you own mostly, if not all, of your tenants are Section 8 housing, right?
Yeah, the majority of them,
Majority.
Yeah.
And most of them are in the Wareham-ish area?
So I own from Weymouth. I have 10 units in Weymouth, and then everything else is south of that, right?
Gotcha.
And then I own in Wareham. I don't own anything in New Bedford, Fall River. And
Right.
I don't own anything in those areas because I don't know them, right?
Gotcha.
So for me, when I first got started, I wanted to own in Plymouth because I just love Plymouth. I like the downtown area. It's along Route 3. It's close to Boston. It's close to the Cape. It's like kind of midway. I just thought that like from a growth standpoint, that was a really good market. So I literally drove there with a map I printed out with highlighters, and I drove every single street and highlighted streets I'd own on, streets I wouldn't own on, like, and made notes on it. And then like I just got laser focused on like those areas where I wanted to buy. So now like in Plymouth, there's really not an area I wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to, I didn't not invest in New Bedford or Fall River or whatever because like it wasn't a good market, it wasn't a good area. I just didn't do it because I was like, well, I want to be in Plymouth along Route 3 because like that's kind of, I never came over here growing up, right? So like, I didn't really know the streets, but like our buddies invested a ton over here because like they know the market and they have the connections. Yeah, and like and you know the streets you want to be on, you don't want to be on, and you know the areas you want to be in. And New Bedford's a growing market too, and like I think what's going on here is great. So people that bought 10 years ago in New Bedford are probably really good right now because because prices have come up so much. So like you can do this anywhere. It's just especially with Section 8. You want to make sure that you're buying in good areas because my standard tenant across my portfolio is either someone who's elderly, right, or a single mom with a couple kids. Like across my entire, so if I'm buying a 3-bedroom, it's most likely going to be a single mom with a few kids living there, right? And what do they need? And I think it's so important that you think about your end tenant in mind because, like, I put dishwashers in every single one of my properties. Right. I want washer dryer hookups in there because, I mean, I have 3 kids, and like I know it's like for how much work 3 kids is just for me and my wife, right? And a lot of these moms are single moms; they don't have help, right? So, like just having dishwashers and washer dryer hookups. Like in college, I would spend my Sundays at the laundromat. Like,
Right.
I couldn't imagine doing that with 3 kids running around. Like that would be a nightmare.
Well, and the idea is it keeps them there longer in theory, right? Because they're comfortable and happy there.
Yeah. So,
right.
and because there's other people that do Section 8 that like rip dishwashers out and rip out the washer dryers. It's like, oh, they don't need it. They're on Section 8.
Or it's going to break or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, well, guess what? Like your tenants are going to leave and come live with me and they're never going to move. Right. So another benefit too of Section 8, and this is according to HUD, like, and I mean, it's true for my portfolio too, but the average Section 8 tenant stays an average of 8.75 years in their rental. Right. You can go up on their rents every single, as long as the payment standards go up, you can go up on their rents. Payment standards have stayed flat the past year or so, just because of everything. I mean, they came up so fast.
Right.
So, but a market tenant, right? Like if you're pushing their rents every single year to stay at market, they leave every 2 to 3 years.
Right.
And as a landlord, your largest expense, other than like replacing a roof, right, or maybe a heating system, is tenant turnover. Like 100%. Because so I get like for a 3-bedroom, I get $3,300 a month, like on average, right? Not every housing authority pays the same amount. We can talk more about that. But so if I'm vacant, I'm losing $3,300 a month in rent. I have to go in, I have to turn the unit, I professionally clean it. I go in there, I repaint everything, and then there's going to be other maintenance stuff, right? So Sam's spending another $3 to $5 grand painting and cleaning and doing whatever, right? So now I'm at $8-9 grand, right? Just to turn a unit.
Just to turn the unit.
And that's if I fill it in 30 days. Right. And a lot of times, if you're going to find a good tenant, they're living somewhere else and they have to give 30-day notice. So now I'm vacant 2 months if I find a tenant in the first 30 days, right? So now that's almost, 10 grand, 12 grand, right? So if you can keep your tenants in place and keep your tenants happy, that's the reason why I retired at 35 and live in Florida now.
Right.
And I come up here for the summers. It's because my tenants don't move, like ever, right? I provide a really good product. I renovate the building. I give them, I'll never forget this. I had a tenant actually come into my unit and cry because I had a dishwasher. And she's like, I can't. She's like, you're going to rent this place. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, you're very nice. Your kids are very respectful as long as I can get into my application process too, which is like super important. And she was crying because she was going to have a dishwasher. Yeah. And it's like,
well, you're probably offering her this brand new building, first of all, right? Brand new turnover unit, which you take pride in doing. Dishwasher, washer, dryer, like, think about that. And she's probably still there, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, she is.
That's so think about, and I really want to drive home the point of like, you started with $0 technically, right? You were working for yourself. You had no idea you end up where you are right now, but through rentals, slowly doing it over 10 plus years, Section 8, you're able to retire at 35. You say you had a house in Plymouth that you renovated. You sold that, right? You moved down to Florida. You bought this beautiful house down there, and now you're just managing your portfolio from down there. And you also started something. Obviously, you're a literal expert in this subject, but you started something called Section 8 Mastermind, which is your own how-to, if you will, or teaching others how to do what you did. And that's what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, I mean, my existing portfolio takes like a couple hours a week to manage realistically. Like people think it's a nightmare, but like it's really not. I have a maintenance manager who fields all the maintenance phone calls, which I mean, makes my life a lot easier too. Yeah. So after I got enough units, I was able to hire someone full-time to do that, which is great. So you're definitely going to work more until you get the ability to do that. Right. You know, and I deal with housing authorities and stuff. But yeah, so I started, when I moved to Florida, I sold my landscape design business for a little bit of money. And I moved down there and I thought I could just like golf and be happy. So I started like taking golf lessons, and I stink at golf. And I thought I'd get better, but I wasn't getting better. And I was like, and I found myself starting to just hate golf because I was using it to fill my time and I didn't like love it. And at 35, like, yeah, it's great that I was able to live off my cash flow and retire. Like, my wife doesn't work anymore. We have 3 kids. Like, you know, we live a great life. But at 35, I was like, well, I don't want to just like, when I'm 60, look back and be like, I just spent the last 25 years golfing, right? Like, what's the point of that, right? Like, that might sound great to some people, but like, it wasn't for me. Of course. Maybe if I was getting better and seeing progress, I would have liked it more. But so I ended up joining a mastermind group. And I was like, I was kind of unhappy at the time. Like, I was happy with my life. Like, I remember driving down to Florida and like crying. Right. I was driving down there with my dog, my wife flew down with the kids. But like, when you're in it for so long, like that, and then you hit your goal, right? Like, and I'm moving down there. I don't want to cry right now, but like, and I was like literally driving my dog, and I just started crying. So I was like, I can't freaking believe that I did it. Like, holy cow! Incredible, like, I'm getting goosebumps. Like, just like crazy, right? Because like you think of this. like as a 25-year-old kid, you're like taking risks and people are
Right.
telling you you're crazy.
I was
and
going to
you're
say,
just
everyone's
you're just
doubting
like,
you.
yeah, whatever. Like I'm going to do it. Like I know my numbers. I'm going to go. I went all in, right? And I had nothing, right? So to be able to go down there and do that, and then I'm down there and I'm living and I'm golfing, I'm having fun, and then I'm just like, what am I doing right now? Like
Right.
I'm sitting in front of my computer going on Barstool Sports like 5 times a day pretending to work, and I'm just like, I need something to do with my time. So yeah, I joined a mastermind group, and I do Section 8. Like I don't know if anyone follows the other Section 8 people online, but like a lot of the people teaching Section 8 like aren't people that I would ever buy something from or want to learn from, because I don't see myself in them. So like the other guys in my mastermind group, like, dude, you can just start like a course and teach other people like how to do Section 8, how you do Section 8.
Right.
And the thought of like coming on a show like this like terrified me.
Yeah.
I don't personally like social media, and the fact that I had to like have a social media presence like terrified me. It made me not want to do it. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing things every day you're uncomfortable with, you're not going to grow. Like right now, like I came in, we were talking, like I'm not nervous at all. Like I can just get in and talk for 3 hours. It doesn't matter, right? Because I've been doing it for like a year or so. But so yeah, I started the coaching program, and I have like a super affordable course that basically teaches people like everything about Section 8 and how to build a business. I just started like a 10-week program that literally takes people like step by step by step every week, how to build out your entire business.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm helping a guy, he lives in New York and he's investing in Pennsylvania. And there's another guy who lives in Maryland, who's investing in Maryland and Delaware. And we're like 5 weeks in, and they've already like found properties, offer on properties. They have property managers lined up. They have contractors. They've met like local mentors in their market. Just from like me being like, go do this. And then they go do it, and then they come back like, I can't believe this. And it's like, you literally just need to go. Like, it's super simple.
I know,
right?
it sounds
like,
so simple.
And
but
having somebody
it's
kick them in the butt.
That's what it is.
They're showing up every week and to these Zoom calls. And if they don't do it, I'm like, why aren't you doing it? Like, I'm a pretty like black and white.
You're holding them accountable.
Yeah, it's like you either do it or you don't do it. Like, there's no in between.
But it's so cool that you're almost giving back in a way. Like when you said that first real estate meetup that you went to, like you met your essentially became your mentor, and you met Elliot, right? Like these people that became pillars in your life for a little bit at least, and now you're sort of like doing the same for other people. And I want to talk a little bit more about what you said before. Like you see the passion in your voice when you were talking about it, how like you just almost became bored in a sense, like, all right, I made it. And then you sat in this like lull, this gray zone for a bit, but it was like, what's next? And I appreciate that so much, because like I tend to be the same way. And the older I get, I'm learning, whether it's like through a fitness journey or business, it's like the beauty really is, as silly as it sounds, it's in the journey. It's never, it's in the building, the day by day. It's never once you cross the finish line. It feels good for a second. It's like if I were doing like an Ironman or some of these races, bodybuilding competitions, like when I finish, I feel great and satisfied, but it's short-lived. And then I turn around the next day and I'm like, what's next? Like, what's the next goal? So that's such an interesting point of view, because so many people listening to that would be like, he's crazy. I'll golf every day for the rest of my life. I'm going to, sell surfboards on a beach forever. And then you probably thought that for a little bit, but then it's like, no. But the reason you feel that way is the same reason that you became as successful as you did. Because without that trait, there's no chance you're ending up where you are. You're like, almost like you're proud but never satisfied in a way, right? And you just keep pushing.
It's a blessing and a curse. My wife's
For
like,
sure.
why aren't you just like happy? Why can't you just like chill out? And it's like, I am not like that.
Can't do it.
So
Can't do
wouldn't,
it.
yeah, exactly. Wouldn't be living this type of life right now if we wouldn't ride bikes to school with our kids every single day.
Right.
For, which is just coming from here and being able to do that. Like, I just love this. So my daughter, where we live in Jupiter, her school's like right down the street. And she's going into second grade. So for the past 2 years, I rode bikes to school with her every single day except one day. Amazing. For 2 years, right? And that one day she was flipping out in the car yelling at me because she wanted to ride through this like lightning storm. And I was like, look, it's not safe for us to get a bike right now. But it's just crazy when you think about that, and it's like, yeah, like that's what we like. That's life now,
and you did it,
which is great.
Like,
So,
if somebody wants to take one of your courses, get in touch with you about it. I know you offer all different types, different levels of mentorship. You have a website, you have social media that you're using to promote it. You want to tell everybody sort of like what the website is. We can plug it on the screen too, obviously.
Yeah,
but.
So on social media, it's Section 8 Done Right. And I named it Section 8 Done Right because I just saw so many people doing it wrong. And it's like, well, so... and section8doneright.com for more information about the course, whatever. You can DM me on social media. I'll respond to you. It's me responding. So,
And I can personally attest to the course. I finished one of his courses. My other partner was taking a more intimate, like one-on-one type of course training with him. And like I said at the beginning, we just recently purchased 4 units in Wareham for $495,000. We put $150,000 into it, and it's going to appraise over $900,000. We have just over $9,000 in gross months per rent for 4 units, which is bananas, really, when you think about it, right? Because a lot of people don't understand, again, how the Section 8 market works, how different areas pay more than other areas. They just think of, oh, it's New Bedford, oh, it's Wareham, it must be similar in rents, and it's just not, right?
Yeah.
But that's where Mike came in and really taught us, or solidified what we already had been kind of taught before, how to do this right. And Mike has been like, he doesn't even know this, but he's been like an indirect inspiration to me for a long time because, again, my 2 best friends, Tony and Kyle, leaned on him and probably still lean on him for a lot of things. And I leaned on my 2 friends for years. So like, it was like it started at the top and then the information just flowed downhill and I was always catching some of it at the end, right? And that was the motivation behind me getting a couple partners and starting to do what I've been doing. You know, I've been in retail sales now for 10 years when it comes to real estate, but investing has been new to me the last 2 years or so. Your courses have been super valuable. You articulate well. Like you explain things I'm very black and white myself, so it hits home, right? But you have the systematic approach where it's like plug and play, anybody from any town, county, state, whatever, and it works, right? Evaluate all your deals the same way.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain markets it works better in than others, right? Like I'm not going to go buy a building, like a single family house in Duxbury and expect to like cash flow it, right? Like, that doesn't happen. Right. Like the single family market's getting a little bit harder now because of the prices have gone nuts. Yeah. So a few years ago, like I was doing a lot of single family stuff and then I pivoted into multifamily because like I'm buying units for like 3 bedrooms, like $250,000 a door roughly. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting $3,300 a month in rent. So like those numbers work all day long. Right. But I can't buy a single family in Plymouth for $250,000. Yeah, like I can't do it. Like they don't exist anymore. So, you know, and like I just turned an 8-unit building in Plymouth. It had like $13,000 in gross rents. Mm-hmm. And I just started the refi process now. It's been 11 months. We were fully stabilized at between like 9 and 10. Mm-hmm. And I turned every single unit, renovated them all, filled it. And we're doing like 27,000 a month, 28K a month. So we doubled the income. I went in, I got bank financing for 25% down, and they financed the entire construction process. So you have to front the construction, and then they'll reimburse you. So you need funds for that too. So went in there, did that, turned everything, refinancing now, and found amazing tenants. And like it's going back to what you said earlier, just with people that are on Section 8, like so many people just think Section 8 and they think like projects and like the houses that have cars with blocks on them.
House
is
going to get beat up. This and that. Right.
And it's just it's just not true from what I've seen, right? Like, don't get me wrong. If you list something online and rent to the first person, whether it's a market tenant or a Section 8 tenant, you're not gonna be a landlord for long, right? And that's not their that's not their problem. Right. You're just a bad landlord, right? So, because a bad tenant who's a bad tenant at their last landlord is going to be a bad tenant at your property, right? So you just have to make sure that you don't rent to them, right? And that's a market or a Section 8 tenant.
And you're big on doing your homework with those tenants.
Yeah, 100%. So I do an inspection at their existing unit where they live now. So if they're moving into my unit, I say, well, where do you live now and why are you moving? They'll tell me, and I say, okay, well, if you want to rent with me, I have to do an in-unit inspection of where you live now, right? Like, I'm just going in there, making sure you're not lying about anything on your rental application, right? Because the thing that most people lie in the rental application about are pets, right? Boyfriends, girlfriends living with them that aren't on the lease, right? And I find that stuff out pretty quickly. And then also, are they a hoarder, right? Like, you're not going to know that unless you go to their unit. Right. So like all these things. So they fill out a rental application. I ask for a copy of the most recent utility bill to make sure they're paying their utility bills. I do a credit and a background check. I don't care a ton about credit, to be completely honest. I just want to make sure they don't have like 500 credit cards, right? And they're not paying any of them. Like I want to see some responsibility there. And but the utility bill is going to show me a lot because if they're up to date on their utilities, like then they're paying those, right? If they have a car payment, they're up to date on their car payment. Like, okay, cool. Like you're paying the most important things, and rent should be one of them, right? And not every Section 8 tenant pays. So a tenant can pay up to 40% of their income in rent and utilities. So like a lot of people think like, oh, it's on Section 8, they don't work. Right. And I was renting to the manager of the Radisson Motel. I think it was a Radisson in Plymouth. And she was a manager of the whole motel, right? And she was my tenant. She was a single mom with a few kids.
Right.
So, and it's like, people don't think that,
Right.
right? Like, there's so many CNAs that have a voucher, right?
Yep.
And there are people that are taking care of your grandmother, or when you go to the doc, like,
Right.
Like receptionists. Like, there's all these people, because just from like Boston south to the Cape, you have to make under 50% of the area median income to get a voucher. And there's actually like MRVP vouchers where you can make 80% of that.
Yep.
But the area median income for at 50% for a 3-bedroom household is like $70-something thousand. So think about all the people
That you know.
that make under $70,000, right? Like they could have a voucher, they could qualify for it, and they could be your tenant, right? Like, don't get me wrong, some of my tenants don't work, and they're either on disability and elderly, or they just had a baby, and like they're not working yet, right?
Of course.
But I would say out of my 84 rentals, 80 of them have jobs, and they all work, and they're all hardworking, and they all go out, and it's just that they don't make enough money to live in Massachusetts, right? So, because I mean, life's expensive, you know. So, I always try to tell people that, because I feel like there's such like a bad stigma around it. Which again is why I wanted to put my time towards doing this, because I was just kind of tired of, like, I'd go to a real estate meetup and like, you do Section 8, like you're crazy, and I'm like, I'm really not.
I hear it all the time, like, still, right? Even I'm not even talking family, friends, like people in the industry at the brokerage I work at, like, oh, Section 8, you don't want to rent it. And it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about, you know? It's like anything else, do your homework. So I guess before we let you go, question. So if you could look back on your journey, what's something that you would recommend that someone that's brand new starting out, like the younger you wish you had done, to maybe fast track what you've done a little bit, or just something, again, that you wish you would have done maybe a little bit differently?
Yeah, I mean, so getting into multifamily sooner would have been great. You know, because like the property you just bought, right? At the end of the day, if you get into a property and you pull all your capital out, or you're using hard money and you have an investor that you're paying interest to, or however you structure it, right? Like, you can build your unit count a lot faster, but what so many people don't understand too, like, is it's like, oh, I have 1,000 units, but you syndicate real estate and you really own 5% of it after you get watered down by all your investors and everything. You probably don't really make that much money. You just make fees, right? So there's different ways, and that's a business. That's like, you're building like an asset management company and you own real estate with some upside, right? But with buying rental real estate, like, it's just time. And like, I feel like I was going back, I was always kind of like, not like upset, but I'd be like, why am I always broke? Like, I'm in real estate. I'm supposed to be like, you know, I'm supposed to be rich, right? Or whatever. And it's like, oh no, like, just give it time, right? So I wish I could like tell my younger self, just like, give it time.
Patience.
Like, time goes by so fast. It's wild. Like, I have a 7, a 5, and a 3-year-old. And just like saying that out loud is crazy, right? Like, it's just nuts. So, you know, I'm 38 years old. So, you know, and I started when I was like 25, 26, whatever. So, you know, just give it time, buy real estate and hold it. And, you know,
find yourself a good mentor. Trust the process, trust the systems, do your homework, right? And let it kind of run its course, maybe, right? I think that's important for people, because again, you talk to people and it's like, I have $0. I can't possibly buy a piece of real estate right now. And it's like, just come and take this kid's course. It's like, he'll show you how to do it, right? It can be done. Like, you probably say to yourself, like, if I can do it, most other people can probably do this. I was a BC student. I just like wanted to work. You know, like, I never had a hard time working towards something. I was always very like goal oriented. And like, when I first started, I worked every night and every weekend. Like, I'd get up at 5, go to the gym, work for my landscape design business till 3, 5, whatever it was, depending on how much work I had. And I would leave. I'd get in an old beat up van, like a white van, and I'd hop in there, I'd load it up with all my stuff, I'd go to Home Depot, I'd go work till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'd do it every single day until the job was done. Every single weekend I was in the Home Depot parking lot before they opened, like waiting for them to open. And I remember that on Sundays, I was mad because they opened an hour later. So I remember like being in the parking lot, just being like pissed off. And like, I can't believe I'm starting my day at 6 instead of 5. Like being mad, or like whatever, like 6 instead of 7, whatever it was. And like, that's just how I'm wired, right? Because like I needed, because I was borrowing hard money, right? Like, I need this place done. I need a tenant. Like, time was money.
You know, big time. So I just grinded, and then I mean, it became a lot harder once I started having kids. Like, I could never have done that
course.
once I had kids.
So a lot of people probably comment on this and say, well, he started in 2012. The market was different then, and that's why he was able to do what he did. I would argue against that, and I'm sure you would too. But do you think someone starting today in 2025, prices are high, interest rates kind of suck?
Yeah.
Can you do the same thing?
So prices now. So what I'm realizing, especially right now in Florida, is inventory is like skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Like very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
During the last crash, the same thing happened. Like Florida, Texas, Vegas, like all those markets, Arizona, inventory went crazy. So it's happening again, right? Prices are, and Massachusetts is pretty protected. I don't know what you can talk more about what we're seeing up here. I mean, I think like Wellesley, Weston, Dover, Duxbury, like it doesn't matter.
Natick,
like it's not gonna, you know, but there's other markets that who knows, like maybe it will get, like if there is a price correction. But what I'm telling a lot of people that are in my course now, it's like, look, just because something's listed doesn't mean that's what they're gonna take for it. Buyer, like 3 years ago, someone would list a house, they'd get 5 cash offers and they'd sell it, right? I think someone who lists their house today, like someone who listed their house last year still thought that was a thing, and it really wasn't.
Right.
But I feel like we've gotten to a point now where someone lists their house in the market and they're like, oh, we listed probably 10% high.
Right.
We hope we get an offer. Like, right? Or like maybe some people are starting to get, but it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming. It might already be happening here.
It's 100% happening here.
I would not offer, if you're an investor in real estate, right? If you're not going to raise your family here and your kids are going to live up, like, look at the numbers. If something's listed for 100 grand, offer them 70.
Right.
Right? Come in at 30. And a lot of people are going to say no.
Of course.
Right?
A lot of no's. Yeah.
One person will say yes.
Right.
And then you'll have yourself a good deal. If the market corrects 10%, who cares? You just bought a 30% discount.
Right.
Right? So that's what, and people are doing it and they're getting offers accepted. And, you know,
it's happening left and right, man.
Yeah. So just because something's listed for something doesn't mean that's what they'll take. What I did a lot of was I found 2-bedroom houses that were over like 1,000, 1,100 square feet. And I'd add a 3rd bedroom. A lot of them had failed septic systems. So I'd go in, I'd replace the septic, I'd put in a 3-bedroom septic, I'd add a bedroom. If you're doing that, do not like take out the living room or something, right? You know, so because you have to remember, right? Like again, like who's your tenant?
Right.
If you remove the living room and you're trying to rent to a mom with 2 to 3 kids, like they need a couch, they need somewhere to eat, right? And they need bedrooms, right? If you have 3 bedrooms that are all 7 by 10, right? You need 70 square feet, minimum of 7 feet wide as for a legal bedroom and an egress, right? So if all 3 of your bedrooms are 7 by 10, you're probably not going to rent the building very easily,
right?
Because if the parents come in or whatever, they're like, I can't even fit a bed and a dresser in here, right?
Yep.
So if you're gonna use that model, and I do it with apartments too, you need 1 bedroom that's pretty big. Like you walk in, you're like, okay, this is where the parents are gonna sleep. And then you go in another bedroom, it's like, okay, like this could be like a 12-year-old. And then if there's another bedroom, it's like, okay, if they have like a crib or if they have like a 3-year-old or whatever, like a twin size bed and a dresser with a TV on it, like fits great in here, right? If you have a good mix like that, you'll never have a problem renting your buildings. 3-4 months ago, I bought 12 units in Wareham. It was 3 4-unit buildings. 2 of them are right next to each other, and there's another one like right down the street. And I bought this from like a family that owned it for a while, and it was listed at like 3.1 and change. And the broker sent it to me because there was a lot of Section 8 tenants in place, and a lot of other investors were like, oh, I don't want to deal with Section 8. And like, perfect, right? Like it's great. So they reached out to me. I said, I can pay 2.7. And like, oh, well, they want 3.1. I was like, I'll give you 2.7. And he's like, no. I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, if they come down, let me know. They came back, oh, they'll do 2.9. I'm like, I knew 2.7, right? It's just like, you know, and then I came up to 2.75, and I did the inspections, and then I said, hey, I want 25K back at close. I said, okay, so I really got it for 7.25.
2.725.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, so like, and I stuck to my numbers, right? Whereas 3 years ago, they offer 3.1, they probably get 3.4 for it, right? Because people are like, oh, the market's going up, it's whatever, and you know, and now cost segregation studies are back to 100%, and we don't need to get into like so. And now I'm going to do a cost seg on that and be able to write off a ton of money, and so there's other benefits to owning real estate like that. I've already increased rents on half of those units, so you know, no one's moved. So one person's actually moving, so I have a 1-bedroom voucher and they're in a 2-bedroom, but a buddy of mine has a 1-bedroom and she's moving into his unit, and I already have someone lined up to fill it. So it sounds like a lot, but it's just like another zero on the end, which I've kind of, it's easy to say now,
Literally,
but
of course,
you know,
of course.
just cross it out and
Cross
it's,
it
you know,
out,
more
yeah.
people, but real estate's a people business, and just, I don't know, like my tenants have my cell phone number, they can call me, text me, whatever, I don't care.
Love it.
You know, so, but it's pretty easy now.
Cool.
So
Anything else you want to add? Talk about anything?
no, I mean, I think that covered a lot of it. I mean, I went over my application process, which is super important, and you know how to buy. So, I mean, if you're going into a multifamily and there's like an office or there's anything, like I bought 8 units in Plymouth, and that's why I bought them, because I converted. I think out of the 8 units, I ended up adding like 5 or 6 additional bedrooms into other units, which skyrocketed my rent. Right. So now, like that building makes a ton of sense. Right? It's gone up in value. Like, yeah, I think prices now are high. They're going to come down a little bit. But if you're making offers, just factor in a little bit of a decrease or prices staying flat. Like, I don't think prices from this year to next year are going to go up.
No, they'll stabilize.
Right. So if they go down
percent.
10% or stay at 5 or whatever, like just factor that into your offers and just stay true to your numbers. That's what I'm doing. So that's what I recommend everyone else do.
Valuable advice. Cool. Yeah, I think we did a good job. Like I said, I wanted to really like capture people's attention with like how you did what you did, and just allow people to feel more comfortable to either reach out to ask questions, join your class, or just almost gain inspiration. Like, hey, I think I can do that too, right?
Yeah.
Just let me just take the leap and try to do it.
Just a normal dude that was motivated. Like, that's it.
Love it.
So
Love it.
Nothing special.
Cool.
But